The feeling had lived quietly for a long time, growing in the soft spaces between ordinary days, hidden behind small gestures, shared silences, and moments that felt heavier than they appeared. It was a kind of feeling that did not rush or demand attention, but waited patiently, learning the rhythm of life, learning fear, learning hope. Every time the thought came close to the surface, doubt followed it, whispering about timing, about risk, about what could be lost if honesty arrived too soon or too late. So the feeling stayed unspoken, wrapped carefully in restraint, existing as warmth rather than sound. Life moved forward as it always does, filled with responsibilities, struggles, and quiet victories. There were days marked by exhaustion, and nights marked by reflection, and in all of them, the presence of another soul felt like an anchor. Not in loud ways, not in dramatic moments, but in consistency. In knowing someone would understand without explanation. In knowing that respect did not need to be requested. In knowing that patience could exist without conditions. The heart learned comfort there, even while the mind continued to hesitate. Fear has a way of disguising itself as logic. It speaks in reasonable tones, reminding us of past disappointments, of words once spoken and never returned, of moments when honesty led to loss instead of connection. The heart remembered those lessons well. It remembered how vulnerability once felt like weakness, how silence once felt safer than truth. And yet, with every passing day, silence began to feel heavier than any imagined rejection. The unspoken feeling became a weight rather than protection. There were moments when the truth almost escaped, carried on a breath, balanced on the edge of courage. A glance held a second too long. A pause lingered where words should have been. A quiet hope flickered and then retreated. Each time, restraint won, and the feeling was folded back into the heart, where it continued to grow. Love does not disappear when ignored. It matures. It deepens. It learns patience, even when patience hurts. The world outside offered no perfect moment. There was no dramatic turning point, no cinematic signal, no assurance that the timing would ever feel right. Life remained imperfect, busy, uncertain. And slowly, that became the realization that changed everything. Waiting for perfection was another form of fear. Waiting was not protecting the heart anymore, it was denying it. The truth did not need a perfect moment. It needed honesty. Courage arrived quietly, not as confidence, but as acceptance. Acceptance that fear would exist no matter what. Acceptance that outcomes could not be controlled. Acceptance that love, when real, deserves truth even if it is not returned in the same form. The heart finally understood that speaking honestly was not about securing a future, but about honoring the present. When the truth was finally expressed, it did not arrive with grand words or dramatic promises. It arrived gently, shaped by respect and sincerity. It carried no expectations, no demands, only honesty. It was an admission of feeling, not a request for anything in return. In that moment, something shifted, not just between two souls, but within the one who spoke. The weight lifted. The silence ended. Fear lost its power. What followed was not instant clarity or dramatic change. What followed was understanding. Space was given for reflection, for processing, for honesty on both sides. Whether the feeling was shared or not became less important than the fact that it was no longer hidden. The heart felt lighter, freer, stronger. Speaking the truth had not weakened it, it had strengthened it. Love does not always mean union. Sometimes it means growth. Sometimes it means learning to be brave. Sometimes it means choosing honesty over comfort. And sometimes, love changes form, becoming deeper respect, lasting connection, or quiet gratitude for having felt something real. Whatever the outcome, the moment of truth remained powerful because it was real. In the days that followed, life continued as before, yet everything felt subtly different. There was a new calm, a sense of alignment between heart and mind. Regret no longer lingered because courage had replaced it. The heart understood that not saying it would have been the greater loss. Silence would have left questions unanswered forever. Honesty, even without guarantees, offered peace. Looking back, the fear that once seemed so large appeared smaller now, almost distant. What mattered most was not how the truth was received, but that it was spoken with integrity. Love, when expressed respectfully and sincerely, never becomes a mistake. It becomes a milestone, A moment of self-respect, a reminder that the heart deserves a voice. The story did not end with certainty or promises. It ended with strength, with self-understanding, with the quiet pride of having chosen truth over fear. Some confessions change relationships. Others change the person who makes them. This one did both, in ways that did not need to be announced to the world to be meaningful. And so the words that almost remained unspoken became the most important ones ever expressed, not because they guaranteed a future, but because they honored the present. Because they proved that courage can exist even when the outcome is unknown. Because love, when genuine, deserves honesty. And because sometimes, saying it is not about what happens next, but about becoming who you were meant to be all along.